back to another video, another episode of Transformers Talk, or TF Talk, or however you wish to call it. Yes, what we're discussing in this episode, question that we had on the pilot episode of TF Talk, what was it?
Who do you think should direct Transformers 5?
Okay, so, oh yeah, by the way, this is Grant. Should have done that at the start. Yeah, so who should direct Transformers 5 then?
Well, we've come up with a list of 5 directors. It's a mixture between realistic and not realistic, I guess, you might say.
And there's a difference between who we would like and who we wouldn't like. Because there are some that would be awesome to have and some that wouldn't, some that would benefit, the franchise would benefit from, some not so much. So, who's the first one that we're going to talk about?
Let's do it as who you think you would most like to.
Well, let's not say who I would most like to. This, in terms of realism, the same as Alex, you touched on over the Radio Nation. This is one that I think will happen. I don't want it to, but I think it's probably the one that has got more chance of happening, and that's Jonathan Liebsman, who directed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So expect perverted robots.
Or turtles.
Both crossed.
I'm not joking, I heard this line, "My shadow's tightening" in that film, and I just cringed. Jonathan Liebsman, you've seen one of his films recently.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was one of the worst films that I've been to see this year, if I'm honest. I get that it was, I'm just going to say I get that it's for children, but there were some quite inappropriate parts in it that frankly just weren't suitable for children at all.
Well, I wouldn't say suitable, but more based for the adults, I guess.
Yeah, but
it was a line that a child would pass by, I think. It didn't mean it was like 18 rated, sort of thing.
I don't think it's even that anymore, because we know what kids are like.
So yeah, Jonathan Liebsman, he is Michael Bay's protege, so it's a possibility that it could happen. I hope it doesn't, because like I said, I thought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was alright, but it was not, as you say, the greatest film this year. Unfortunately, Jonathan Liebsman is the type of director who could take Transformers 5 on, so it's that's the unfortunate aspect about it. Yeah. So
yeah, and I think that, with Michael Bay having already said that he would stay on for executive producer, and having him done that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it just seems to make sense. It's like Michael Bay is saying, "Here you go, handing it over to you, but I'm still going to be here to watch over you." It just seems like that's the most logical choice.
Yeah, I'll guide you in making this film. So I don't know. I thought there were some really good action sequences in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which showed his action capabilities, but it's just not consistent enough for me in a film that strives off action. So for me, it's not a possibility. For me, I don't want Jonathan Liebsman to direct, but I think it probably might happen. So, so who's the next one we got that we came up with?
Okay. So next we come up with a bit of a shot in the dark, really, in Christopher Miller, who's recently directed 22 Jump Street and the Lego Movie, which
very well received.
Very well received, and he's been already announced that he's going to be working on a second, which could be, if he's announced for a second, it might mean it's not likely that he'll get a call. And if I'm honest, thinking about it, I don't think that he would. But I think he's definitely got an eye for that storytelling with comedy elements. It's obvious from both of those films that he's recently done.
And Transformers has comedy in, doesn't it?
Yeah, which
sometimes very well done, sometimes not so much very well done.
So I think he could definitely take it in an interesting style, possibly started storyline. Whether that would suit where Transformers 4 has left us off, though, I'm not 100% sure thinking about it.
But he is one for special effects.
He's one for special effects, yeah. So yeah, there's a possibility, but not a very likely one, I would say.
Cool. So who's the next one that we've got? Now, okay, the obvious is Michael Bay. I've not officially heard that he's not going to be directing Transformers 5. I've heard that he's going to be directing the film before that. And he has also recently extended his contract at Paramount, I believe. So,
some sources claim to say that he said that he won't be up for helming it, but he'll definitely stay on as executive producer.
For me, as soon as I see on michaelbay.com or his Facebook page or his Twitter feed or whatever, as soon as I see that that he himself has said he won't be directing, he's going to be passing the torch on, that is when I'll believe it. But when it's just reports, I don't believe it. I still think he is a massive candidate for directing Transformers 5. And like I said in the previous video, how many times have we seen him say that he's not directing the next one?
And if he has already said that he'll be executive producer, surely it's not that much of a leap for them to try and persuade him to come back to being director.
Oh yeah. To direct Transformers Age of Extinction, all Michael Bay had to see, apparently, according to him, was he just saw the line at the Transformers ride and he saw all these kids like pumped up for this ride, and that kind of gave him the kick that he needed to do another film. So
everybody go and get on that ride.
Get on the ride. So yeah, no, he's a massive possibility. I personally think it's the most probable. I think it's more probable than Jonathan Liebsman.
Would you like to see him?
I'd love to see Michael Bay, but I think the movie fan base is getting more and more fans. Yeah, there's people that don't like it, and that's completely fine. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I am a fan of the movies, because for me, as a movie fan, it was my generation one, because I didn't grow up during generation one. I wasn't born in the 80s. So to have my own Transformers series, in 2007, that was 7 years ago. It sounds like not too far, but it was a good 7 years ago now. So for me, the Transformers movies are my generation of thing. As I've said in the previous video, Transformers Prime was my generation show. But yeah, I'd love to see Michael Bay, but like I said, I've grew so accustomed to his style of movie making with these films. Yeah. I know what I'm going in for. I'm not going in there to expect something that's going to rival Inception. I'm not going to go in there expecting something that's going to rival Interstellar or something like that. I'm going in there for brilliant action sequences, great special effects, and a Transformers movie, which is what we've been getting, especially Age of Extinction. I thought had the most robot screen time. So yeah, I'd be more than happy if Michael Bay directed the next one.
Definitely. I think one thing that's working against him is that Paramount have apparently said that they want to take the Transformers movie franchise in a different direction. So that could mean that potentially they want to go away from that style of Michael Bay film. So that could work against him. Yeah.
But they also have a great relationship, so it's not going to. They're not just going to say, look, we want to do this differently, off you go. They'll work it out. So, and like I say, I personally think he will direct Transformers 5. So who do we have next on our list? And this is one that a lot of people should know.
Jon Favreau.
Yeah, Jon Favreau, who you might know as Happy in the Iron Man films. He also directed Iron Man 1 and 2, if I'm right, and just starred in Iron Man 3 as Happy. Jon Favreau, like I said, we all know how much of a good film Iron Man 1 is. It's an absolutely fantastic film, one of my favourite Marvel films. I think that's a good shout, to be honest. I know Alex put it out as a suggestion, right? I think it's a really good shout, and one that I personally would love to see if Michael Bay was not to take up the reins. I think it's definitely possible. And yeah, it's definitely, I think the majority of fans would be happy with it, I think.
Yeah, and it's definitely a realm that he's moving into, you know. I mean, he's Iron Man franchise was, there's a lot of kind of good action sequences, robotic stuff, and he's at the moment helming the Jungle Book remake, which that's probably going to have some decent effects in and stuff like that. So, and he's established. He's working with big named actors like Benedict Cumberbatch, Robert Downey Jr. obviously. So he can show that he can run with big names, big actors. Scarlett Johansson, which is something that he can then use in the Transformers franchise. Bring in big names like Mark Wahlberg and stuff like that.
So yeah, John Favreau is the possibility, whether it will happen or not, is completely a shot in the dark.
And hey, he has a really good working relationship with Robert Downey Jr. Would people like to see Robert Downey Jr. in Transformers franchise? Because personally, I think that would be pretty awesome.
It would. I can't see it happening.
No, but imagine him just running around and
these Marvel
cursing at massive freaking robots. I think it would be quite humorous.
Take on note that we're joking, by the way.
Yeah. This isn't confirmed.
So who have we got next?
The last one.
Now, basically Guillermo del Toro. I saw Pacific Rim. I wasn't as impressed as I thought I would be, but I still think it's a pretty decent movie. It was a good nod for Guillermo del Toro to show off what he can do. He did massive robots versus massive monsters. Now, as you said about him being specific with the monsters aspect, now this was a thing that we thought, okay, monsters, Transformers is mainly robots, but Optimus is going into space, and we spoke in the last episode about if they took which direction. If Optimus is going into space, he could come across many alien species, Quintessons, if they could be the creators for all we know. So there's a lot of species that he could make and be great to do.
Personally, for me, this is the least likely out of the entire list.
Yeah.
Del Toro is very well known for not wanting to work in Hollywood and not wanting to work mainstream, and I don't think he can get much more mainstream than what Transformers is at the moment. Plus, it's not really his field. You can see that in Pacific Rim. It was good, but I think he struggled with the fact that it was a Hollywood film, and he's not used to producing that kind of
little bit out of his
area. Yeah, maybe he might learn and he might adapt, but for me, it's not. I can't see it.
Yeah. So so there's our list of who we think could and who we think would and who we think shouldn't. Jonathan Liebsman. In all honesty, it's completely open ballpark at the minute. Anyone could do it. Like I said, Michael Bay could still do it. We don't know. Transformers, we'll probably hear something maybe next year, I would imagine, because if they're going to push for maybe a 2017 release, these films take 2 years to make, so they'll probably need to announce and then get started next year.
Expect it to come sometime next summer, I'd imagine, an announcement.
Unless they are really taking the time to think about it to get the right person in, which then could take us up to 2016 for a 2018 release, but it is completely open. But apart from that, it's there are suggestions anyway. We've got Guillermo del Toro, Jonathan Liebsman, John Favreau, Michael Bay, and who's the other one? Christopher Miller. That's the one. So there are suggestions. Let us know in the comment section of this or on the Facebook page who you think should direct or who you would like to direct, and just let us know what you think about that, because it's quite an open subject. So apart from that, I think we're all done on this one.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, just feeding off from some of the conversation that we've had, maybe suggest what actors you'd like to see come into the franchise or return into the franchise, and maybe we'll do a video about that another time.
Cool. So definitely that's going to be a really good subject to discuss, because it's, like I said, it's an open feel to go over. So without further ado, that'll be that for this episode of TF Talk. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also like us on Facebook, because we're always talking about Transformers on there as well. So without anything else, we'll see you guys in the next episode, and roll out.